Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a former Boeing 737 pilot, and in this video I want to share with you a procedure called the isolated pack operation. And this is something we use in the 737 to increase passenger comfort when flying at high altitudes, at high temperature operations. So we are pushing back in Tenerife. You can see temperature outside is 30 degrees centigrade, and obviously, for the pushback and for the engine start, we have to turn off the packs. And this is going to increase temperature in the cabin quite rapidly. So, what we are going to do today, then, is start up our engines. We'll start with engine number 2, and let me start the timer on the first officer's side over there, so that we get an idea of how long it just about takes to start up the engines, which is all time within which there is no air conditioning available inside the passenger cabin. So, engine start time for the CFM56 is somewhere in the region 35 to 45 seconds, with an average at about 42. And then we have two engines that we need to start up. We need to complete our pushback procedure, and only once the ramp agent has shown us the all clear signal, we can run the after start procedure, which means that we'll need roughly, and I'm cross-checking this with the timer over there, we need roughly something in the region of approximately 3 minutes, where the passengers have to do without any air conditioning system. Now, I'm sure that many of you have already noticed that while you have been sitting on airplanes as a passenger, that the air does get a little bit worse during pushback. Now, our engine 2 is just about started. That took us about a minute over here. It takes a little bit too long in the PMDG, should be something like 42 seconds-ish. Now, when this is complete, normally we would go ahead and straight ahead start engine number 1. However, in hot weather operations, there is a procedure that can be applied that's called the isolated pack operation. Now, in order to understand this procedure, let's quickly move over to the air conditioning panel and have a look at the lines drawn on this panel. So, over here you can see the APU bleed enters the air conditioning system on the left-hand side. So, in order to start engine number 2, the flow of the air was like this. From the APU through the system over here, going up, and then going over to the other side through the opened isolation valve, and then going down to the engine in order to have pressure available to start it up. But if you look at the system, you will notice that there is something you can do about this before you start engine number 1, and that is isolation valve close. Now the two systems are separated from one another, and if you now turn the right pack in auto, then engine number 2 can feed the right hand pack, and that way we have air conditioning available in the cabin. So now the APU can still start up engine number 1. And I suppose we go ahead with that. As you can see, number 1 starts up normally with bleed from the APU bleed, but the engine 2 bleed is already supplying the right pack. And now, thinking about the architecture of the 737's air conditioning system, you will notice that the right pack is primarily responsible for the cabin and the left pack primarily for the flight deck. So, as you can see, we are now starting up engine number 1, and we still don't have air conditioning over here in the flight deck. Well, we do have a little bit, since the right pack can supply it to a certain extent as well, but just a little bit, really. And the engine number 1 is now starting up just on the APU bleed. So, I did prolong this procedure to a certain extent, but you can see we're at roughly 3 minutes right now, and the engine is about to be started up. Now, it does take the ground crew some 30 seconds as well after you set the brakes to disconnect everything, so overall we're looking at roughly a period of 2.5 minutes that you can get additional air conditioning for the cabin, and at a temperature of 30 degrees centigrade we need to take something into account. If we move to the outside over here, the airplane's got a huge surface on it that the sun does shine on, and you also got like 189 passengers sitting in there, which also cast the heat from their body. All of this warms the cabin up really quickly, and some measurements have shown that you can have up to a 10 degrees centigrade increase in cabin temperature in a period of 3 minutes without air conditioning. So you can see it's getting really hot in there. And if you can halve the time without air conditioning by applying the isolated pack procedure, that really increases passenger comfort. So once again, I'm going to show you once more. So this is the standard configuration that we're in for the engine start. Packs off, all bleeds on, isolation valve open. And in order to isolate the pack, you put the isolation valve close and the right pack into the auto position. And that is how you can get the right engine to feed your air conditioning system while the APU feeds the starter of engine number 1. So that's it for this little video. I do hope you all enjoyed this one. Let me know if this was something new to you or if you've been using it for a while already. In any case, I would like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Leave a like if you did indeed like the video, as it does help with YouTube algorithms. And finally, if you're up for more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you all again on the next one.